All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Thompson. If you're watching the recording, I'll make an introduction here to the gentleman, the man of the hour, who will be introducing our wonderful new partnership with EcoStella. And I'm super excited about it because it's a gentleman that I've had the fortunate opportunity to get introduced to by Emmett Summers, who also is with us today live. And we've been working together for months trying to put together the right type of partnership. And we have succeeded in doing that. And we're launching our new product biome called EcoStella. And I won't steal your thunder about the name and all that good stuff, Will. So I'll do that. Will has been, he's an OG in the industry, all about energy efficiency. So we are very aligned on the mission and vision. And I'm super excited to have the partnership roll out effective today, which is today's date, is the 31st of March. So, Will, honored to be working with you, and I'm going to turn it over to you and game on.
All right, let's go. Appreciate it, Charles. Very excited for this partnership. I've had the pleasure of just watching Charles from afar and all of his success for a while now, and so to finally have the opportunity to work together is very exciting. And I'll say that going to the name EcoStella, the company's named after my daughter. My commercial company's named after my other daughter, and so it stays very close to me. We invest a lot of time, energy, and we want to protect the brand. And there are not, I can't think of nearly anyone else other than Charles that I would have been comfortable doing a partnership the way that we are like this. And so, from professionalism to integrity, it's all very, very important. And so EcoStella is actually an extension. So I've been in the energy efficiency space for 16 years now. And I started in the commercial markets. I introduced a few technologies to the market. I've pulled technologies from other patent owners and manufacturers and sort of assembled things, right? And so on the commercial side, that company's Madison Energy. We worked with companies like McDonald's, Taco Bell, Papa John's, Hilton, Marriott, Cracker Barrel. I just did a site survey for Sherwin-Williams, and one of our advisors did one early last week for Lindt chocolates, which is pretty cool, right? So we've got to see a lot of cool things and learn a lot. In 2020, during COVID, the commercial businesses all shut down, right? Even if they weren't shut down, they were worried about other things other than saving energy. And so I took the opportunity to pivot into the residential space. And I took what I could from the commercial space, repackaged it, and that's what we did, right? And so we launched into residential. We did a fair amount of work with the residential solar industry, which, if you're familiar with that, that's had its challenges. And so, now even EcoStella had sort of quieted down a little bit. And so this is a great way. Energy efficiency stands on its own. It's an industry that, not only provides an enormous opportunity for everyone here working with the Commonstead, but for the people that we would sell to, right? There's a lot of homeowners all over the country that are struggling with the energy costs. Gas rates are up. I just paid $5 a gallon the other day. $150, and I didn't fill up my truck. So, it's expenses are high. People are feeling the pinch, and utility bills are something that whether it's businesses or residential, people just kind of pay them, and they feel like there's really no other option. Maybe I don't want to spend tens of thousands of dollars to go solar yet. Maybe I don't qualify, and so this efficiency space provides an avenue where we can provide real tangible solutions with effective results that are going to pay for themselves and then contribute to that homeowner's pocket every month from now on. I can tell you that the core products that we have with EcoStella are products that I've been a part of building. They've been battle tested in the harshest environments. Fortune 500 companies that look over your shoulder and make you jump through all kinds of flaming hoops, right? We've been put to the test from a performance standpoint. As a matter of fact, all of my commercial projects actually include energy monitoring equipment so that after the project, we can show that client the exact energy that we're saving them. I also have some pretty advanced energy saving calculations that I'd love to show people sometime, because they took me a long time to build with the help of AI and some other industry experts that I consult with. But I mean, they are spot on. Anyway, we'll get to those another time. I kind of I'm always ready to nerd out. So let's get to let me see, share. Let's look at the actual thing here. There we go. All right. So the way that we've been effective with EcoStella and energy efficiency is to take solutions and bundle them together. That way you're providing a comprehensive solution to a homeowner, still giving them options, but the options are bundles. One of the important things to understand about energy efficiency is that the true effectiveness comes from the sum of the measures, meaning we want to employ a couple of different things at a time, because different solutions work in different ways at different times. And I'll show you what some of that looks like here today. Whoops. There you go. That's a nice looking slide there. All right. So this is the essentials bundle. As you can see, the homeowner gets all three of EcoStella's core measures in one bundle, and we're going to pair that with the HVAC tune-up. Now, the Stella Prime is sort of our flagship product. Okay, this is a control for the HVAC system that essentially gives it a brain. A lot of people consider smart thermostats to be the brains of an HVAC system, but in reality, a smart thermostat is really just an on-off switch at the end of the day. It's a little bit better than the old ones in the sense that it can turn on and off at different times on different schedules. But if we're talking about true intelligence, then we want to apply that to the actual components of the system itself. And that's where we start with the Stella Prime. And so there were utility studies done 20 years ago by the California Energy Commission in conjunction with PG&E, SCE, SDGE, and a few others. And one of the things that those studies found was that all HVAC systems lose about 20 to 30% of the energy that they generate. And the reason for this, one of the reasons for this, there's two, is that when your thermostat reaches set point and it turns your compressor off, you get 90 seconds of fan runtime, right? And that fan is meant to go over your coil, get the rest of the air through the ducts and into your home. The utility studies found that 90 seconds is very often not long enough. And so even the thermostat manufacturers know this. And so on some smart thermostats, you can adjust that, but it's still always a static amount of time. The Intella HVAC is the only device that will put a true variable timing mechanism on your fan, meaning we're going to give you all the fan you need, but none of what you don't. I want the fan to run as long as it needs to make sure that all the energy your system has generated gets into the home without going over, because we don't want to introduce outside air into the equation. But we want to optimize that fan runtime to make sure we're capturing as much energy as possible. So that's step one. And on its own, that does about 10%, okay, from the HVAC system itself. The other thing that happens with HVAC systems, and here we are, we're coming up to the summertime. This is prime season, okay? The other thing that happens is that when a system runs for, say, 22, 23 minutes continuously, it will reach its capacity. So just to step back for a second, every HVAC system has a capacity to it. And as we go on, I'll do some other more detailed trainings about the systems themselves and how they run, just so you can be more and more knowledgeable. But say the average residential system is a 3-ton system. That means you have 3 tons of heating and cooling capacity. Now that capacity gets generated and is held on a coil, which typically is like an A-shaped type, metal thing where the refrigerant is going through, okay? Now that coil is what holds the 3 tons of capacity. Once you reach that point, if the thermostat is still calling for cooling, the compressor is running for no reason, right? Just imagine your cup is full, but the faucet's still on and it's just overflowing, right? You're just wasting water, or in this case, wasting energy. So the Stella Prime monitors the system. It knows when the system has reached its capacity and will automatically turn that compressor off to eliminate that unnecessary runtime. And it'll utilize the fan to capture all the energy that's on the coil until we've exhausted that. And then we start over. The system starts over from there, right? So you've got two functions in one device that work together seamlessly. It's compatible with, it doesn't matter what kind of thermostat you have. There are some things to be aware of that we'll get into in terms of some of the compatibility, but I can tell you 98% of HVAC systems out there are compatible with this, right? Another 1% that are not. There's a couple adjustments we have to make, really just one with the wiring. And then, the other 1% are either inverter systems or they're just super advanced and you can't really mess with the wiring, okay? So all in all, you're looking at a 10 to 15% reduction in energy at the system, which will translate to the home. Now, as we talk about that translation, let's also talk about the reason why HVAC is the primary thing to talk about when it comes to home efficiency, is because HVAC is responsible for anywhere between 40 to 60%. And I say it's really towards 60% in most homes, okay? Not accounting for if they've got a pool or other things going on. It's most of what drives people's energy bills. And so when we're able to have a positive effect on the HVAC system, it's very visible, it's very noticeable, and we're able to do it without compromising anything in terms of temperature or comfort, right? I tell people all the time, they say, how do I know it works? I say, well, it does its job. You're not going to know that it's working because it's just up there doing it. You'll know if it's not working because the energy bills will still be high and whatnot. But it's a self-programmed, programmed device that sits up in the air handler, right? So it gets installed in the air handler, which is typically in the attic, could be a closet. Fairly simple installation, right? I can do it in 8.5 minutes while I'm explaining the steps. And so it doesn't take very long. That being said, there are some nuances to it. And so we always make sure that we use licensed professional HVAC technicians to do the installs because we want to make sure nothing ever goes wrong, okay? So next, we're able to pair that with the Stella APC. Now, the Stella APC is what's called adaptive fan speed technology. This comes with very expensive systems. If you get a new HVAC system and you feel like spending $25,000, you'll get a nice variable speed motor in there. Most people don't elect for that higher cost. In fact, most people want to spend the lowest money amount possible, or maybe the middle ground, in which case you're not going to get that. Or they've got a system that they've had for the last 5-10 years. It's working fine. And so what we can do, we can upgrade that system. So the point is, variable speed technology, it exists, it's in the market, it costs a lot right now. But we can provide that with a simple control that leaves their existing motor in place. So we're not taking that out and throwing a perfectly good motor in the trash can. This retrofits to the existing fan motor, and it does a couple of things. The first thing is when the thermostat kicks on and the fan turns on, we're going to soft start the fan motor. So we're going to decrease that inrush current by 60%. This is important for demand. If you're in an area where your utility is charging demand, very, very important, okay? It also releases stress from the motor itself, which is going to help that last longer. And so instead of being truly variable, where it'll kind of, wave, it's more of a bell curve. So we step the fan speed up and we step it back down. And the reason for that is, number one, it's just a better way to go in terms of programming, but also you can maximize energy savings just by increasing the speed as you need it and then decreasing it as you go down. This capitalizes on a physics principle called Cube law for the science people out there. Cube law states that a 20% reduction in speed is equivalent to a 50% reduction in energy. Now, I'm not saying that this product saves energy 50%, what it's going to do is it saves 50% on the sides of that bell curve. And so that equates to about a net of 15%, right? Because the sides are, the bulk of it is in the middle, right? Where the fan is increasing in speed. The other cool thing about this product is that it has machine learning capability built into it. And so it adjusts itself with the season. So nobody has to adjust anything. You don't have to touch it or anything. You put it in summertime, come the fall and the winter, it'll adjust all by itself and with the fan cycles. Okay. This also is installed in the air handler, but directly at the fan. So the Stellar Prime is low voltage, which is 24 volts. The Stellar Prime is 208, 230. I'm sorry, the APC is 208, 230, right at the fan motor. Okay. So these are both essentially small computers that are going to talk to the system, tell it what to do, and optimize those components. Now, fun fact, HVAC systems lose 1.5% of their efficiency every year. So if you get to a home and they said, yeah, my system's 10 years old, that's easy math, right? It's 15% reduced on its efficiency. And that's if they've maintained it properly, which some people do, some people don't. I have commercial clients that don't touch their units unless it breaks, and then they complain about the maintenance budgets. It's like, well, right. And so another reason of why HVAC systems lose their efficiency is a condition they develop called oil fouling. Now, this happens when a system is about 4 to 5 years old. That's when it really starts to take effect. Oil fouling is when oil will migrate from the compressor into the refrigerant, and it kind of gunks things up, right? It reduces viscosity, slows the flow of the refrigerant. It hinders the charging of the refrigerant. So now your system's working harder. The older it is, the harder it's working to charge the refrigerant and get you to temperature. You may notice that some older systems, when the air first kicks on, it's not all that cold. Whereas the newer system, if you put your hand to the vent, you can really feel it. That has everything to do with oil fouling. So what do we do? SynCat 360 is a biolubricant that you can inject into the system. And the best way to explain this or to think about it is like Drano. So you've got your pipes, the oil's kind of gunked up in there, right? It's some sediment has formed. The SynCat 360 is going to go in there. It's going to break those oil particles down. It's going to release the sediment, get that viscosity and that flow back so that we can regain a lot of the lost efficiency. This is a one-time injection. Matter of fact, everything you see here is a lifetime warranty, right? This is EcoStella's warranty for life. I mean, in 16 years on the commercial side, I might have replaced 3 of these units. So, and I don't even, if somebody says it's bad, I'm like, okay, cool, here's another one. Right? That's about the extent of how far that goes. Now, we just talked about maintaining the system, which is why we include an HVAC tune-up, whether the homeowner needs it now or they're like, hey, I just got it done 2 months ago. If that's the case, then we schedule it out and say, all right, well, we're going to take care of it in the next few months because number one, we want to make sure that their system is performing as well as it can before we put our technologies on there. Okay. If they've got a super dirty coil or the filter's just all yucky, the system can't breathe, it's working harder. And it doesn't matter what I do in terms of intelligence, right? It's just not gonna perform well. So think about the tune-up like an insurance policy. Insurance for you and insurance for the homeowner, right? I'm guaranteeing you 15% energy savings with this bundle. One of the things that I've got to do to make sure that I make good on my promise and that you get what you're paying for is to make sure that this unit is as good as it can be. Filters changed, coils cleaned, test the capacitor, make sure that's functioning within range, right? Make sure there's nothing else going on with the system. And so that's why we include that in this bundle. As you can see here, move my window. You're looking at $39.97 as a total, or as low as $59 a month, right? $59 a month is easy. That's lunch for 3 people. Okay. My wife goes to the Mexican restaurant all the time, and it's always around this much money for the two of us and our daughter, sometimes more. And you can see the commission on that, $900 with an override of 240, which is very generous from the comments. I mean, it's $900. I mean, you could sell these all day long, right? And what's even better is the next bundle is actually what sells the most. Do we want to take questions now or at the end, Charles?
If it's really relevant, Robbie, at this point, we can take them. Otherwise, we can get through the 3 slides and then just do a general Q&A.
Okay. Not sure if it's relevant or not. I think so. My only question is these are great products. I've actually have a little experience with one of them in the past, so that's awesome. But is each product good for 10% savings? Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 30% in combined when we're telling the customers, or up to 10% with the package?
So look at the packages as you see up atop, Discover the Essentials. This is a 15% package. You get a 15, 25, 35. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. You bet. Sorry.
Yeah. So in the world of energy, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, which is kind of weird to say, but the way it works is 10 + 10 might equal 15. Number one, you have to account for some overlap when two things might be working at the same time. The other thing, Robbie, is, I'm talking about the Stella Prime, we could say conservatively 10% of the system, the AP, I mean, all of these 10%, but that's 30%. But then you have to factor in the fact that, we're 40 to 60% of the total energy bill. So if we're talking total energy and we want to give a good, consistent, conservative number, right? We want to set the right expectation. That's how we get to 15. Great question.
Thank you, Will.
Sure. Stella Pro. This is the bundle that EcoStella, at least, has sold the most of by far. It's not even close. And I'll tell you why. It's one little thing. Well, aside from the energy savings are increased to 25%. We include the Stella Air IAQ in this for indoor air quality, right? And believe it or not, this is a factor. So this is something that we put together during COVID. It's 26,000 watts of UVC power in this one light bar. So any residential system, you need one of these bad boys, and within an hour, everything that should not be in that air that's circulating is going to be gone. I've tested this myself. I have these like little test strips or whatever, and we turn the thing on, and we can like pull it out, and within direct contact, under 5 minutes, everything is dead. So what we do is when the air is flowing, right, you account for that. So you get all three of our core products. You gain the Stella Air. And now what we've done is we've added the service plan, which means we're going to come out twice. And the way that we convey this to the homeowners is to say, and this is true, right? Whether it's EcoStella, Commonstead, our partnership together, we take a long-term approach, right? Robbie, I don't want to just, deal with you today. I'm here to work with you today. I'm here for all of your future needs. When you think about anything that has to do with your home, I want you to think of me. And this is how we start our relationship. Now, we're going to do the tune-up when we put all of this in for all the reasons that I mentioned before. But now with the service plan, we're going to come back out in 6 months. Why? Because I want to check on it. I want my technician to check, make sure everything's still working properly from your system to our technologies. I want to make sure that, nothing has creeped from around the corner, because it happens. And make sure that you're saving all of the energy that you're supposed to save. And it's an extra $30 a month. That's it. So you get all the efficiency. The air that you breathe is going to be exponentially better. And with the service plan, we're coming back to check on you. And so really the conveyance of, hey, this is a long-term partnership. I want you to be a client. When you need a water heater, or we want to talk, the water efficiency, or, all of the things that the Commonstead has to offer, right? You're not going to sell them all at once. You get in with one of these packages, whether it's these or the other packages, and then 6 months later, you can come back, right? And so now, this is real residual revenue. It's not like, a couple of bucks here and a couple of bucks there. You can get a whole extra commission. And so imagine, if you're doing 40 or 50 of these, right, they stack up, and now every month you've got people that you're calling on, hey, got something else I wanted to show you, talk to you about. You know, you're going to get referrals from that as well. Difficult to quantify, but I mean, if you can get 3 referrals from everybody that you sell to, it grows exponentially. I've seen guys do it and girls. It's very, very powerful. All right. Ultimate efficiency transformation, the Stella Elite. This is a 35% reduction in energy. And the big kicker here is the duct sealing. Now, where we can, we've got a national relationship with AeroSeal. We can send these guys in. They're going to do the blower door test. They're going to seal the ducts and the system, make sure that none of the air is escaping. And again, everything that system is generating is getting in to the living space. I can tell you, every single client that has ever gone with the Elite package, it's a noticeable difference. I mean, like significantly in terms of how their home feels, because we're saving and we're making sure we get all that air. They're actually able to adjust their thermostat. Like, I don't have to keep it at 68. I can keep it at 70 because more of that cool air is coming into the home. And so that's very, very, very powerful. The other thing here is on the monitoring side. This is a great way to provide visibility into their energy consumption as well as the energy savings. And we do that with the Emporia View. So connects to Wi-Fi, it's got the app on the phone, right? The different CTs will go on. And basically, it's rather than just get one energy bill for your home and you don't really know what came from what. Now we can, depending on what they have, if they have multiple HVAC units, if they have a pool motor, whatever they've got, any major appliance, we can put a CT, which is a current transformer, on it, and they're going to be able to see that energy consumption. What that also allows them to do is say, hey, this allows you to check us, right? So if all of a sudden your energy bills go up, this is the way that you go and you look at it, you see, well, where did it increase? Okay, well, I've got 2 HVAC units, and the one that does the upstairs has had an uptick in the last couple of months. That's indicative of a mechanical issue that we need to look at. It's great if they call us. We'll get our same guys out there to go look at it. They can call their own guy, right? Very important to know there's nothing about what we do, any of this technology, that causes any issues with the equipment. So it doesn't happen very often, but every now and then I'll get a call like, hey, I got an EcoStella package 6 months ago from so-and-so, and now my system's acting up. And the answer is, I can assure you that it has nothing to do with our equipment. I'm happy to send someone out and get you taken care of. If by some means it is our equipment, it's on us. But if it's not, then whatever that technician charges is you're going to be responsible for that. And we just make sure they understand that. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, get it done. Other times they want to call their own guy. So, we'll deal with it there. It doesn't happen very often, but it's something I like to make people aware of so you don't, you see it coming if it does. Let's see what comes next. All right. Won't cover those. And so, any questions on these efficiency bundles?
There's a few in the chat here that I'll guide through, Will.
Okay.
First of all, thank you very much. Great stuff. I want to let each of you know that we do have the playbook. I mean, Will has been working with our team phenomenally well. So I'm going to post in the chat. Maybe when you're done screen sharing, I'll pull up the playbook. The key is we're going to work with Will's team as pros as we launch. So just give it a couple of days. We'll have the pros page loaded for EcoStella on our pros.thecommonstead.com. So know that you'll work with them on your first few projects until we get you certified and trained to sell on your own. Just like anything that we do, we always work with pros. I'm going to pull up the playbook. You had some really cool stuff in there that you shared, and I loved some of the expressions about how we sell. So first of all, playbooks or playbook.thecommonstead.com, both of them point to the same place. And here is the EcoStella Becoming Brilliant at the Basics. Phenomenal job working with Evangeline and putting that together. You can download this right on this page. I just got to get it done. And you'll see all of our other playbooks are there as well. So one of the things I would recommend that you do after today is to dive into the playbook. Again, don't get caught up in having to worry about all of the details. We're going to dive into some of the questions, but this is our job really to make the connection understanding the technology without getting in the weeds, so to speak, until you're ready for that. So let's take a look at the Q&A bar there, Will. And there's one there from Adam. On the APC is a soft start on the compressor motor. We'll start with that one.
The APC soft starts the fan motor. It's a different product to soft start the compressor. So the APC is installed in the air handler, which is most likely in the attic. The compressor is outside, and so different area, different piece of the system. And we could do that as well, right? We've got an option for that. So if it's, when that really applies is if you look at their bill and they have demand charges on there, then the demand, is there's a chance that it's coming from that HVAC compressor. The other thing, if it's a little bit of an older home and you say, every time your HVAC system comes on, do the lights kind of dim? You get that flicker. And if they do, it's because the draw of the HVAC compressor is pulling too much energy, and you can fix that with the soft starter.
Any follow up on that, Adam? You good? Cool. Okay. Chad, you had one in here, and radon on Stella Air.
Radon.
Yeah, sorry, you had just mentioned air filtration. So, a lot of what we have in Colorado is radon, and I'm just wondering if that was part of that. I imagine not, but that's okay. It was a question.
Yeah, no, it's not part of that. Let's see. DA says, is this compatible with businesses? It is, but not what you see now. That shifts over to our commercial section, which I'll defer to Charles on when we talk about that. I think we're going to start on the residential side. Certainly, I think if you have a relationship or a lead on the commercial side, let Charles and the team know, or reach out to me, and we can kind of talk about that as a one-off.
So just on that note, Will, phase one of our partnership is on the residential side. And just like everything else that we've done in the comments in the last 30 days, we've made a real shift over to residential. Very quick sales, very quick to get monetized. Commercial projects always take longer. So we're going to launch our residential arm first with this wonderful partnership, and then we'll come back in and look at commercial here probably next month after we get a month up and running. So look for town hall to always be where we make our announcements. So this coming town hall Wednesday, which is the 8th, we're going to really roll out this partnership to the entire community. And then, we probably have something that will work up between that town hall and the next town hall, right? Always look at that as how we move things. One other thing I want to chime in here, and thank you for sharing the commissions as well. Great commissions and overrides. So when you see the override, that's for your first generation. We do pay out 2 gens, and your second gen is half of that. So just imagine if you build a small team that's doing 1 or 2 deals a week. I mean, Will, in your experience, what's the average person doing on your team as they get up and running per week on an average?
I would say if they're full time, they're coming home with at least 1 or 2 a day.
So there you go. If you want to, we have obviously something that some of you have seen called the path to 100K. This is the calculator. I'll throw that in the chat for you all to play with it. Take a look at these products. You can see the commissions go from 900 to 1300 to 2100. And all you have to do initially is make that connection, and you'll work with a pro at EcoStella. And then you'll be able to take yourself down that pathway to become a pro if that's what you like. Otherwise, you can stay a connector, and you can work with any pro in our ecosystem as we grow. And great overrides. If you're building a team, take a look at that. That override on that package is equivalent to the override you would typically find on a whole solar job itself. That's a $40,000 to $50,000 job. This is a less than $10,000 package, and you're making a $600 override. Pretty generous commissions that we've provided through this partnership.
And I've got ways to, we'll, as trainings continue, I'll show you guys some tricks that we do, both on the closing side as well as, finding potential clients, right? So I'll give you one today, which is I like to show the elite bundle almost intentionally to sticker shock some people, right? Doesn't mean it will, but I look for if it does. I kind of say the price, give it a second, step back, and if I see them kind of get a little fidgety, then I know. And then it's hey, right back to, you know what, though, we don't need to start with this. Let's go back to the pro bundle, get you started on that. We can always add on later, right? And then, there's like the sigh of relief and, and you get it done, right? So, always keep that mindset of, these clients are going to be here, right? Don't, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people in different industries make the mistake of they sell as much as they can to a client and then they never talk to them again. And I can tell you, I've made at least hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, from clients that I just by keeping in touch, right? This is on the commercial side, just by keeping in touch, it's all of a sudden it's, hey, you know what? I've got this going on. Can you take care of that? Absolutely. The answer is always yes, right? We'll figure it out how to do it along the way. So, the same thing applies here with you sell them, you keep in touch with them. It's something you can keep in touch with because it's going to perform, it's going to do well. And then the sales come from there. So it doesn't end at a $2,100 commission. That you could add a zero to that over time.
That's right. I mean, the whole approach that we've taken in the partnership and in the Commstead is one cost for acquisition of a customer, multiple opportunities to help them. So the question in here, do these packages work with the other packages that we have? Yes, absolutely. And Will and I are working on how to bundle those packages. You will be able to use them in the proposal tool that we'll release at the town hall with pros to be able to stack or bundle adders, if you should say. These are packages that we want to run with regard to EcoStella, but you'll be able to add in an optimizer or add in the Arctic blanket or the Arctic breeze, which leads me to probably a question that everyone's wondering. First of all, coverage map, and then secondly, financing. I know, Will, you have a huge network of HVAC companies. Rachel, you were talking about this is probably a great product to talk to HVAC companies. You think? How many HVAC company partners do you have, Will?
It's in the hundreds.
Yep. Hundreds of HVAC partners, hundreds of electricians that are the perfect candidates. And yes, we'll be bringing them into our ecosystem and introducing them into EcoStella as well. Phase one is to get our residential arm up and running, get our retail sales going, and then we'll start building on the wholesale side as well. And financing, you're using NEIF. What's your experience with them and how does that process? We're not going to do a training on financing today, but just if you can kind of walk us through what it typically looks like.
Yeah, so NEIF is really great to work with. You can get people pre-approved with just their name and address. So a lot of times you could do it, I don't say without telling them, but kind of passively, right? You're already there. You can see, all right, this person's approved for X amount. So kind of what you're looking at. And then from there, it's a seamless flow into the application. Approvals range from instantly to, maybe 24, 48 hours. It depends on what that person has going on. One of the things I like about the NEIF is rather than decline people, they'll review it and kind of see, what they can do to make that go through for you. So, we'll do a training on that and talk about all the different requirements and whatnot and different terms that are available. But the great thing about it, and this is just a tremendous thing about efficiency, period. For any of you that have done things like solar or commercial, like Charles was saying, it takes longer to get done. And so it takes longer to get paid. With efficiency, our typical payout is 7 to 10 days from close to commission in hand, right? And so, when you can establish a flow of money that way, it's really powerful, right? Just keeps coming in and you can build from there.
Great question, Adam, on the video. So we are in the soft launch mode. Know that town hall is where we're going live. So by town hall, there'll be a few things. You do now have access to the playbook. We'll get working on some videos as well, short video clips that we can put on our media page. And we'll launch our pros page by then as well. So just know that you're here for a soft launch. This is the whole purpose, get you pre-educated, dive in and know that by town hall, everything will be live and you'll be ready to rock and roll and starting to sell, working with a pro until you can become certified as a pro yourself. Okay, good question, Robbie. Does a customer get paid and then pay you What's that look like, Will? I think we've talked about it, but I want to hear it directly from you. Did we lose Will?
I think he went to the side real quick. He'll be right back.
Parabi Stella knocking on his door.
Do I need to clarify the question a little bit, or is it pretty?
No, it's accurate, Robbie. We'll get it. We'll get a good answer from Will. I mean, that makes a big statement, folks. Will is placing his family heritage, his legacy in our hands. That says a big thing about who we are as a company. And he mentioned he wouldn't have done it with anybody but the Commonstead. So that to me was one of the biggest compliments I've received, quite frankly, since we launched.
Huge.
Yep. Agreed 100%. All right. Any other questions in the chat? Trying to grab them as we get them until Will comes back.
Nope,
back.
there's Will.
I said it's probably Stella knocking on your door, Will.
Yeah, no. It was a corporate client that I've been trying to get a hold of. So take me just a second.
The question was funding of the deal. Is it funded to EcoStella or is it funded to the homeowner and the homeowner pays us?
Wow, yes. Great news on that. So it is funded to EcoStella. So yeah, you're not chasing the homeowner down. Money comes to us and then and we knock it out.
To piggyback on that question, is there different loans we could buy down, or is it same as cash options, stuff like that, like typical contractor financing?
Yeah, I'll put, I'll get all the options together. It's not very complicated, right? It's kind of like it's a pretty small number of options, but they're good ones. And so I don't know if there's buy down rates or not. I think you can always buy it down. I don't know that always makes sense though. So, we just try to keep it simple and say, a low payment and we push through all the benefits.
Cool.
I answered Pete's question was how much the pro package. So I just kind of scrolled through those as Will presented them. I'm kind of staying here on this slide, just showing the partnership. But any questions, throw them in the chat, folks. Well, welcome to the ecosystem, EcoStella. Wonderful to have you as a partner. And this is a recorded asset. This will be posted in the community, as will the playbook. So if you want to go rewatch this recording, give it 24 hours, it will be posted in the community page. You'll see EcoStella there, and then we'll start inviting people to ask questions. We're going to have weekly trainings, but as we get a couple of these recordings done, then we're going to shift to open Q&A. So by week 3, when you come in here, you're not coming here to get trained. You're going to watch the video first, and then you're going to come in here to take a deeper dive, to really look at prospecting, learn from Will on how his team has gone to homeowners and approached these projects, really making it more interactive as opposed to us here just presenting to you. Okay. All right. Yes, and always bringing on new installers. Again, let's stay in our lane for at least the first few weeks, get some contracts in hand, and then we'll start expanding this into taking some wholesalers in, adding additional products into the packages that we have, all that kind of, and getting more of our people from our team on as pros. Right now, we're going to work with the pros, the ones who have actually been selling this for years. All right. Any other questions? You can either come off mute and throw it out to us or type them in the chat. And once we're done with that, oops, echo. I don't know who that was, but a lot of echo.
Yeah, it's me, Desi. I was in another computer. Hi, Will. Good to see you here. I'm super happy to work with you again.
Hey,
Desi. I have a question about the Spanish. We are opening the Spanish market. Do you have in your team and your company Spanish speaking for not only for the rep but for customers?
Yes.
Yep. So Desi is our CEO of the Spanish markets and is really helping us behind the scenes get everything translated. So this deck will be and the educational deck will be translated into Spanish as well. And that's awesome that you have closers that are not closers. We try to avoid that word, but pros who can help us in the Spanish market as well. Thanks, Desi. Great question.
I think I'm a good fit to be the pro right away because I have years of experience.
You're going to have to get signed off by Mr. Geist.
Mr. Geist, let's talk.
All right. Sounds good.
Robbie and I have sold energy efficiency together for about a decade. We used to do reduce before you produce in our company in Dallas. So he's got plenty of experience, but want to make sure you sign him off first.
Yeah. You know,
Here, I'll private chat you my phone number.
for those of you who haven't been here or done this before, it's such an incredible opportunity. It's a completely overlooked industry, in my opinion, right? There's, you see there's a bunch of people doing fiber, a bunch of people doing this and that. Energy efficiency is something where you are legitimately helping people. 10 years ago when I was doing this, energy efficiency was more of a luxury, right? It was the bigger companies and the bigger franchises that wanted to wave the green flag and reduce costs. Now, more and more than ever, this is becoming an absolute necessity. I have a slide that I show to my commercial clients that shows, let me see if I don't have it here. It's okay. That shows what the last 10 years of cumulative energy rate increases look like, right? Compared to what's projected for the next 10 years. And it's not even close. I mean, it's almost scary.
Crazy. Crazy.
What it looks like. And so, you show that to people and you say, look, this is not something to ignore. This is something to get ahead of. And it's something that, you have the ability to take control of to some degree. And listen, solar is great, but the most expensive kilowatt is the one that we have to produce. So I prefer to eliminate as many of them as possible.
We are totally aligned on that, my friend. Love that.
All right.
All right. This time we'll stop the recording because I do want to chat a couple things. I don't want to have timestamp on it. Stand by.